pas de soleil, pas de soleil, pas de soleil.
Welcome back, nail queens. Have you ever struggled with your dip powder doing this, where it looks like it's leaving a wrinkle in your dip powder and you don't know how to fix it? Well, I'm going to walk you through a couple scenarios on how to fix it if it happens, what causes it, and how to prevent it from even happening. So my thumbnail here is already wrinkled, so what I did is dipped my nail in the powder once again to fully absorb the rest of the dip base. Then I'm taking some sharp, small tool like this, and I'm removing any excess dip that might be hanging over on any edges. Of course, if you don't have anything hanging over, then this doesn't apply to you, but then you're going to want to pat down. Yes, press down gently all of the powder to try to make it as flat as possible. So obviously it's not perfect, but I got it pretty darn flat. So I have one more dip to go. I only did one dip and I have one more to apply to this nail. So everything is smooth as I could get it. So I'm applying another layer of dip base to my entire nail so that I can dip it in the colored powder. Now, how you dip your nail in the powder is what matters on top of how much base that you put on your nail. So I tried to apply a thin layer of dip base, and when I put my finger in the powder, I actually lay it flat on top of the powder instead of doing it at an angle. I'll explain more later, but look how smooth it looks now. You can hardly see any of the lumpiness that occurred on my first dip. So now I'm going to show you what causes the wrinkling in the first place. The wrinkling is caused by an excess of dip liquid and not enough powder to cover all of that liquid. So if you're using a thicker liquid or you're applying a thick layer, and also dipping at a 45-degree angle like I just did here, you're more likely to experience the wrinkling. So you can see here how it's not completely dry because the liquid hasn't absorbed all of the powder because there's not enough powder here for it to absorb into the liquid. So I'm going to re-dip the nail here in the powder so it can absorb as much as possible. And like I did before, I'm going to use my finger to tap this little wrinkled area at the free edge. I'm going to tap that down nice and flat. Now what I'm going to do is encapsulate these nails in clear dip powder. Not only is it to protect the color from filing and buffing away the color or the shimmer, but it also is going to encapsulate any of that wrinkle, and I'm going to file and buff that nice and smooth, so when I'm done with my dip manicure, you won't even be able to feel the wrinkle because it's covered by a smooth layer of clear dip powder. So this is why we applied the layer of clear powder, is so that we can smooth everything out and not feel any of the bumps or lumps or wrinkles, whatever you'd want to call it. So make sure you file your nails nice and smooth. Don't worry if you are going ham on it. Some wrinkles are worse than others, so you might have to put in a little extra elbow grease. But look at it now, you can barely tell. So I'm going to finish up here, and then I'm going to get in on showing you how to prevent the wrinkling from even happening in the first place. So the amount of dip base that you have on your brush when you apply it to your nail is super important. Make sure that you're wiping one side of the brush on the inside of the bottle so you limit how much base you got on your nail. I like to apply my dip base as you see here. I start in the middle and then I work my way up towards the cuticle area so I don't flood the cuticle area. And I'm going down and sweeping up motions multiple times so that I don't have an excess of liquid here on my nail. So when I apply the dip powder on my nail, I don't dip at a 45-degree angle. Instead, I lay my nail flat into the powder instead of the 45-degree angle. This way, it's less likely to catch any wrinkles at all. And as you can see here, it turned out completely smooth and you can't really see any wet spots, unlike before where there were a lot of wet spots from having too much dip base on my nail. Alright, so that's it for today's video. Let me know if you're going to try out this technique or if you've ever had problems getting this on your nails and you want to turn it into this. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!